Make sure you download my free technique program. It's a program that identifies what is holding you back from reaching speed. So when you start to compose and check out other guitarists and other musicians in general for inspiration and try to learn from others, you should definitely try also to check out musicians who doesn't necessarily play the guitar, because you will notice that people who play different instruments, they compose in different ways. I'm very inspired, and I become very inspired by pianists, keyboard players, because they have a different way of composing. They kind of have a different approach than guitar players. And of course, I'm not saying that they're using different chords or anything like that, or creating melodies, different melodies, not necessarily anyway. But they kind of just have a way that seems that when I analyze keyboard players, piano players, and see what they're doing and see how they compose and put chords together and stuff like that, is they often come up with stuff that I wouldn't have thought of myself. So I'm really inspired by a lot of piano players, especially for composing. Not necessarily for playing, but for composing especially. So this is a great reference thing to check out, keyboard players and piano players. What's also interesting is that a lot of musicians who compose, who for example play brass and winds and stuff like that, a lot of people actually compose on the piano, because it's, in many ways, it's a little more obvious to work with the piano as opposed to also a string instrument. A lot of the time also when I need inspiration and I feel a little, when I'm sitting down with the guitar to come up with stuff, sometimes it happens that I don't really, it just feels like I've done everything before, and I need some new inspiration. What I do in a lot of times, even though I really certainly wouldn't call myself a piano player, I don't really play the piano, but I do get a little bit around on it. But also using the piano to just come up with ideas is great, because I don't have, the interesting thing about it is that in one way you could say that I'm very limited because I don't really know how to play the instrument. But the interesting thing about that is that when you don't have a lot of tools, when you don't have all these, like on the guitar for example, if you have a million chords and ways to play the instrument, you also sort of see everything from those tools. But when you go into using an instrument that you don't master, then you sometimes just do some really weird stuff. And many times I created some really great stuff that I wouldn't have come up with on the guitar when I play the piano, because I don't think so much on the piano. I don't have any fixed ideas on how to do stuff. I just pretty much just put the fingers and play melody from there, and then some good stuff comes up. So that's really also a great thing to check out. So if you have just a cheap MIDI piano, which I do, and just connect it to the computer, you can compose a lot of great stuff. And then after that, you can actually, transpose it into the guitar and find out how can I play this on the guitar. And this is yet another thing that'll teach you a lot of stuff and make you come up with stuff that you never would have come up with in a million years on the guitar, because it's just such a different instrument. So things that you would compose on the piano is outrageous on the guitar many times. So this is also a great way to, and a great tool to make use of, even though you may not be able to play the piano. But if you have a cheap MIDI keyboard and a computer that you can plug it into, you most definitely will come up with some pretty funky stuff. It may not always work, but sometimes you come up with some really great stuff. I do, I know. If you want to get more into composing and learn a lot of new tools to start creating, and even though you're a beginner, you should check out my new course, Songwriters 101, here in the link below. See you! Subscribe to my channel.